If you're thinking about doing portion control to lose weight and to lose your stubborn belly fat, then I would highly recommend for you to watch this video in full first so you don't waste your time. Portion control not only does not address the root cause of weight gain, but it only works in the short term and not the long term, which is what all of you men in your 40s and 50s want, who want to lose your stubborn belly fat and see the number on the scale not just change, but go straight down. So if that's you, then I would highly recommend for you to watch this video in full. So the first reason portion control doesn't work is because we slow down our metabolic rate by lowering the sheer amount, the quantity of our food. And when this happens, physiologically from a metabolic standpoint, when the body sees less fuel coming into the body, we metabolically adapt and slow down our metabolic rate, right? Because if we were to increase it, with less fuel coming in, we would be taking steps closer and closer towards starvation. And obviously, we're always trying to meet homeostasis, the equilibrium, if you will, the state of balance. And if we increase the metabolic rate, or if our body physiologically adapts in a way where the metabolic rate goes up whenever we have less fuel coming in, then obviously we're not taking steps towards homeostasis, we're taking steps towards starvation. So instead, the body physiologically adapts to meet homeostasis by lowering our metabolic rate, which is the exact opposite of what we want to do if we want to optimize our health, which is the whole purpose of losing weight in the first place. So if we decrease the quantity of the food that we're eating, yes, we will see some initial progress, but it's not going to be sustained long term because we're going to slow down our metabolic rate. And secondly, we're going to elevate the hormone known as ghrelin. Ghrelin is a hunger hormone. So when we are in a deficit where we're moving more and eating less, which is essentially the premise of what portion control really is here, then you are going to elevate this hunger hormone to where you are almost hungry all the time because you're not getting the satiety that you actually need to thrive and survive. Once again, a slowdown in your metabolic rate to begin with is already a bad sign to show that you're taking steps in the wrong direction. So each thing that I continue to list off here is going to be because of that, because you're actually doing portion control, and it's going to lead to this cascade here of problems. So not only will you elevate ghrelin, but you will also suppress leptin, a satiety hormone. So you're not only getting a decrease in your metabolic rate, you're also increasing the secretion of ghrelin, a hunger hormone, and you're also decreasing the secretion of leptin, a satiety hormone. So you're less satiated, you're hungrier, and your metabolic rate is lower just so you can lose some more weight. Obviously, that's going to be a recipe for disaster if you are struggling with cravings, you don't have a lot of time on your hands, and things are just crazy. You don't have time to control portions anyway. If you're a guy in your 40s and 50s that works full-time for a company or you run a business, you don't have time to calculate these things. You don't have time to weigh your food or to make sure that you get the thin Swiss cheese instead of the full Swiss cheese. It's a waste of your time. And if you want to prioritize your time in the right way, you need to prioritize the right things. You need to address the quality of your food over just the sheer quantity, right? Now, people will say, well, what if you do both? What if I optimize both the quality and the quantity? Yes, you can certainly do that, but if you eat foods that satiate you, that don't put you in a position to store body fat, you don't eat foods that are fattening, you don't eat foods that spike insulin through the roof and keep it elevated for hours on end, foods that don't elevate your blood sugar levels and keep it elevated for hours on end, and simultaneously you're eating foods that will satiate you too, then your likelihood of storing body fat is going to be very, very low despite the quantity. The quality takes care of the quantity. If I'm eating foods that are satiating me, are giving me a good insulin response, are not putting me in a position to gain weight, then eventually I will get satiated and I will not need to eat any more food because I'm eating foods that actually serve me well. Quantity only becomes an issue when the quality is low. When you're eating processed carbohydrates, sugars, and seed oils, you're just eating pure garbage, pure shit, and now you can overeat these calories. You can overeat these foods that are in front of you. And then quantity does become an issue because you're overeating foods that are spiking insulin through the roof, spiking your blood sugar through the roof, and are just putting you in a metabolic mess. So everything that I just mentioned there, insulin, blood sugar levels, satiety, eating higher fat, higher protein foods, usually those things get neglected whenever we are just focusing on portion control and on pure quantity, the sheer amount of what we're eating. And once again, the quality will take care of the quantity as long as the quality is on point. If the quality is bad, if we're eating processed garbage foods, then of course we're going to end up overeating foods that don't satiate us and give us a terrible insulin response and keep our blood sugar levels elevated for hours on end. But if we eat ribeyes, chicken, steak, sardines, mackerel, salmon, naturally sourced carbohydrates that sit well with us, then our likelihood of getting satiated and getting a very good insulin response so we don't store any body fat at all whatsoever is going to be very, very high. And once again, when you're just focusing on the quantity of your food, you neglect those things and instead you go down this deep rabbit hole of misinformation and BS, most likely things that you've heard from your fitness influencer that you listen to on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or X, or the fitness coach that you previously worked with and it didn't work out very well, or you ended up gaining all the weight back just as fast as how long as it took to actually lose it, or maybe even faster. When you're listening to people like this and you continue to go down this rabbit hole, you just continue to waste more and more of your time and you just stay stuck for longer. So if you're ready to stop staying stuck and you want to actually reverse this so you can start losing weight now, then I would highly recommend for you to click the link in the top of the video description to speak with me directly to see if I can help you break through your weight loss plateau and help you address the root cause of weight gain without you having to control any portions at all whatsoever. Everyone that I've worked with one-on-one, Dion, who's lost 12 pounds in his first month, Chris, who lost 36 pounds in 3.5 months, Steve, who's now lost well north of 30 pounds inside 2 months, Brian, who lost 10 pounds in his first 3 weeks and lost a ridiculous amount of belly fat, Joe, who lost almost 20 pounds within his first 5 weeks, a ridiculous amount of belly fat as well. Those two pictures are literally 2 weeks apart. All these guys and many, many more did not have to control portions or follow any other quantity-based approach. They ate more food in their first month than any other program, in comparison to any other program that they've tried in the past that controls portions or calories, or any other regimen that they've tried on their own. They ate more in this program and lost more weight because they increased their metabolic rate by eating more of the foods that serve them well, and their metabolic rate went up as they ate more fuel. Once again, your metabolic rate will increase if there's more fuel coming into the body. You will metabolically adapt and be able to burn more fuel as long as the food that is coming in is serving you well, is satiating you the right way, is giving you a good insulin response, and is serving you well in general. It's not a food that has a paragraph of ingredients. It's single ingredient food that is from a higher fat, higher protein source or from some naturally sourced carbohydrates. If you're eating more foods like that, your metabolic rate will go up because now there's more fuel coming in and you have to metabolically adapt to that new supply by increasing the demand. The demand is your metabolic rate and the supply is the food that is coming in. And the opposite is true as well. If you're just controlling portions, then you are going to decrease your metabolic rate because now there's less fuel coming in. You eat more, you'll actually burn more. If you eat less, you'll actually burn less. The body has to use 110% of everything that comes into the body, and it will be able to utilize that fuel in a better way if there's more of the right foods coming in and more of it in general. And you'll be able to eat more foods if you exercise and target each muscle group each week and get a big boost in your metabolic rate as well through weight training. And you eat more of the foods that will serve you well and will not put you in a position to store body fat and spike insulin through the roof. So that is pretty much it for this video. If you would like me to fully customize a plan for you that does not involve any portion control at all whatsoever, so you can lose weight consistently month after month and get a flat stomach, then I would highly recommend for you to click the first link on the top of the video description to speak with me directly to see if I can help you do just that. Or if you have any questions and you want to message me directly to see how I can help you, then feel free to click the link in the middle of the video description to message me on Instagram. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one.